Secretary General David Lewis Rubongoya Ayanukude General Kaguta Museveni ku bigambo byayogedde olunaku olw'ejjo Mbu Nup ekibiina kya National Platform President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Yaba Akalulu ke mu 2021 era mbu baamubba akadde kalamba ak'obululu. Secretary General amugambye bw'ati.
What I can say is that this is laughable, this is shameless, it's really unbelievable that General Museveni can accuse the National Unity Platform of rigging elections when he knows so well that he engaged in massive election rigging. That election of 2021 has been described as an election from hell, given what the state under his command did. Engaged in ballot stuffing, rigged elections with impunity, arrested our polling agents, captured people who had our DR forms. Crime intelligence and police were busy picking up our polling agents who had our DR forms, collecting them from the field. So how can a man who rigged elections, and everybody in this country and in the whole world knows that we had an election that was not free and fair, how can he come up to accuse the National Unity Platform of rigging elections? He's shameless.
Perhaps you're also saying what he said, that the election was not free and fair, but you're saying it is laughable. The president, who was in military wear, was making these comments in a defense and security engagement. Besides being laughable, isn't there a place to take this very seriously?
Well, for me, I find it very sad that he made such remarks at an event meant to celebrate a fallen hero, a man of integrity, the late General Aronda, may his soul rest in peace. General Museveni shouldn't have made such unfortunate comments at such an event to commemorate the life of a gallant officer who served this country well. So it's very embarrassing.
Do you have a take on the timing of this?
I mean, it's clear that he's setting stage for what he probably wants to do in the next election. Actually what he has said today makes you question his claim that the 1980 election was rigged, which forced him to go into the bush. So it seems that right now he knows that he cannot win a popular election in this country, and maybe he's planning something else. So it seems that the election that he claimed was rigged and eventually used that as a basis to go to the bush and, take over power and all that. Now Ugandans will begin to question those stories. If he can say such a statement about an election which everybody knows how it went. Remember, it is this election when General Museveni had over 400 polling stations where he got 100% of the vote, all cast in his favor, and meaning that none of these people who had registered on these polling stations ostensibly were absent on that day, none had died, none had transferred. All these people voted and voted for one person, which is ridiculous by all standards, which is impossible. So he rigged this election. I mean, international observers, as you remember, were not accredited to observe the election. I mean, you remember what happened. Then they started abducting our people, doing all sorts of things. And this is the head of state coming up to shamelessly claim that it is a National Unity Platform which rigged. And he gives a figure of 1 million votes. You can imagine how ridiculous that is.
Break down this for us, since you're a counsel and you've also taught law. Yeah. The president has categorically stated that you can take him to court, but he's the president. Legally, can he be taken to court over this matter, or even when he has invited you to take him to court on this?
Certainly, you cannot, legally speaking, in the courts of Uganda, and that is why, with all the impunity that goes on there, but even legally speaking, he enjoys this immunity, which in many ways is the reason why he has decided to stick to power for all this time, because he knows that Ugandans cannot challenge him legally on these atrocities and the crimes he continues to commit and his regime. But maybe there is a time when there will be accountability for all this.
So are you planning to pursue his invitation that you take him to court?
Well, what we can challenge him to do is to present his evidence, and we challenge our evidence. If General Museveni says we rigged the elections, why didn't he allow this evidence to be presented in the Supreme Court? You remember they went after Justice Eza Chisache, who actually ruled that Honorable Kyagulanyi should have been allowed to present his evidence before the Supreme Court. So why did the state go so hard on her? Why did the state invest so much in making sure that the Supreme Court does not accept the evidence which we were trying to bring into the Supreme Court? And you remember everything they did. So if they know that they have any evidence, we challenge them to bring it, and we bring ours. In any case, we've always said let there be an audit Of course, an audit overseen by people who are credible, by the international community, by the United Nations, and we shall present our evidence to show that General Museveni and his regime, we have DR forms which were tampered with, which show that the votes which we got at polling stations are not the votes which the Electoral Commission headed by Byeyayogede announced. So we have all this evidence. And so if General Museveni says he has this evidence, let him bring it, let us bring ours, let there be an independent audit of the 2021 election, and the people of Uganda and the whole world will see who actually rigged the election with impunity.
Finally, the president makes a suggestion that the law should be revised because there were gaps in the law, and voting be limited to electronic voting and nothing manual. Do you agree with him that that could help, or that is also something you are against?
The problem in Uganda is not laws. The laws are okay. It is just abuse of the laws. I've already told you that there were over 400 polling stations, 409 polling stations in particular, where he gave himself 100% of the vote. And if you look at the results, there are those he gave himself 99%, 80%, etc., etc. How is that humanly possible? Are you telling me that that happened because there was manual voting or something like that? So it's not the law. It's not even the kind of voting, whether manual or biometric. The problem is impunity, that the laws which we have in place are abused and not followed. But all this to favor him. You remember, he appoints the Electoral Commission, make sure that the returning officers are vetted by ISO, the presiding officers are appointed by themselves. So how did NUP all of a sudden be the one rigging elections? I mean, how shameless could he be to make such a suggestion?
Secretary General David Rubongoya ensonga ndoozi azitaanyiza bulungi eza General Museveni. Bino bivudde ku bigambo bya General Museveni byayogedde olunaku lwajjo bwe yabadde mu Nnyonyo nga bakuza olunaku lw'okujjukira alondanya Kayima emirimu gy'akolera eggye n'eggwanga. Akuba yajjukira yaleeta enkola y'endagamuntu, yaleeta n'ebya biometric okulonda nga tukozesa kigalo. Kuba yali atya nga General Museveni ajja kuba kizibu n'amanya nga ate ategeera n'engeri gye babbamu akalulu kwe kuleeta enkola eya bayo bagikozesa okulaba nga balemesa ababba obululu. Era yataddewo etteeka ly'amannya n'akibuli kinene kyokune byamaliriza nga bamusse kitalo nnyo. Kati nno Secretary General David Rubongoya abadde ku NBS ng'addamu ensonga ezo nga bamubuuziza ku kibuuzo ekyo. Anenjaga nkuwe ku bigambo bya General Museveni byayogedde ku Secretary General yadde yali mu kubaakinga oba yadde yali mu kudibankinga bwe bakiyita ndowooza obiwulire ng'agamba National Platform babba akalulu era babba miliyoni namba 221.
As a consequence of that, I have now got all the evidence that in the last election, Nup cheated by 1 million votes. I have the facts. Nup can take me to court. And the same 7 has falsely accused them. But this is what happened, 1 million votes. And I have all the evidence now. So therefore, you can see that Aranda, but Aranda had implemented the project. Only the law was leaving the loophole of saying that if the gadget doesn't work, you go manual. We must remove that now. It must be only electronic voting. So therefore, I want to salute Aranda for doing his part.
Ebyo bye bigambo Secretary General byadde ayanukula ebya General Museveni nga bwe babba akalulu aba National Platform era nti akalulu babba kadde kalamba ke bamubba era alina obujulizi ye nga ye obukakasa nti nno bano babba akalulu kaso tubifuna wano bulungi.
Of course, the UPC would come with the ballot papers in the pocket. They go in the enclosure and they tick, fill the kasanduku of UPC. And then each kasanduku, each box had a symbol of the party. The symbol for UPC was the hand. The one for DP was the hoe. The one for Kabaka Yaka was one finger. Only Kabaka Yaka Sawa Sanja. So, but the symbol was good.
Bwe bityo bigambo bya Gen Museveni ku Kubbo Akalulu era ng'agamba enkola en'okukolebwa okulaba nga kiggwaawo ate nga bannambemu mu Kabba nga Secretary General David Lewis Rubongoya bwannyonnyodde obubbi bwa Museveni bwakozesa bino just abikola kubuguyaza na kubuzaabuza neze nakusomedde dda musolo gye nasokwa nti NATO emutaddeko akazito kati akazito ako ke kamwokezza ke kamubabula okulaba nga tegatandika okwogera bino okubyogera alina pressure eri mu kumunyiga katakolagana na national platform ebabbi Secretary General kugambye obutereevu nti wabanga alina obujulizi abuleeta abutebolinge naffe tutebolinge obwaffe ensi esalewo ani ddala eyabba akalulu ka 2020 kubanga ojjukira ba agent ba Nup bangi bawambibwa babuzoone kati nga tumanyiddwa bwaje bali bangi battibwa bangi bakubwa balina ebisago bati binene abantu baffe bawambibwa lwa akalulu nikatagamba muno ffe twabba ate nga ye yawamba abantu baffe naye ensi ekirungi nti eraba biba byogera okugengera okubuzaabuza kulabye n'abantu be babadde ng'akyogerako nga bonna bekubobama nga baseka bagamba kiweddeoza bamuwadde amagezi akole ekyo alimberimbe bafunireko batandikira naye magezi mafu kubanga ensi kati eraba ensi kati ndala si yeri gye baali balowooza nga we yali gwenyaga otunulire abantu be the reaction olaba reaction balaba bakutemyako obona tukimaze batubaka emiliyoni bona olaba otodongo bona nga basanyuse bagamba tukimaze Nup tugiyingiza gamalala gamwe gajja kuggwa wande ebe mubba obululu ebe nomane mutandika okwogera bitakwatagana sawa ya mwejja mukama bakumire mweraba.